HOA inspectors showed up at my cabin, then saw my rifle and ran. The first morning of hunting season always went the same way. Up before sunrise, coffee brewing. Standing on the porch of my cabin, hundreds of private acres of Montana wilderness stretching out in every direction. No neighbors, no noise, just me in the woods. That morning, something was off before I even saw it. Engines far off, getting louder. A line of black SUVs came rolling up my gravel driveway, kicking up dust. Nobody comes this far back unless they're invited. For people got out. A woman in a red jacket leading the way, folder tucked under her arm, followed by 3 men in blue polos carrying clipboards. They walked straight toward my cabin like they already owned it. The woman introduced herself as Karen Whitmore, president of some HOA I'd never heard of. She announced flat out that they were doing a compliance inspection and that my cabin violated several community rules. I almost laughed. My land had never belonged to any HOA. The nearest subdivision was miles away. I told her that, calmly. She didn't even acknowledge it. Just told her team to start documenting violations. They measured my porch, took photos. One of them walked around the back of my own cabin without asking. I went inside and came back out with the deed, the county survey, decades of land records, every bit of proof that this land had always been private and completely outside any HOA line anywhere. Karen glanced at it for maybe 2 seconds before pushing aside. Then she taped a violation notice to my front door and warned me thousands of dollars in fines were coming. She said it like I didn't have a choice in the matter. I was already planning to head into the woods that morning, so I stepped back inside and grabbed my rifle off the rack, unloaded, slung over my shoulder, barrel down, exactly how I always carried on my own land. The second they saw it, everything changed. A clipboard hit the ground. Then another. The whole group started backing toward their vehicles, suddenly remembering they were standing uninvited on someone else's land. While they hesitated by their SUVs, I called the county sheriff's office and asked someone to come confirm my property records. A patrol vehicle showed up a few minutes later. The sheriff knew me by name and asked everyone to stay calm while he sorted it out. Karen insisted her HOA had authority over my cabin. The sheriff asked for the paperwork to prove it. She flipped through her folder and found nothing but references to a subdivision 10 miles away. Not one page anywhere mentioned my land, my cabin, or my property. The sheriff pulled out my deed and the certified survey, checked them against the official county maps in his own vehicle, and gave his answer without much hesitation. My cabin had never been part of any HOA. This whole inspection had happened on the wrong property from the very start. Nobody in that group had anything left to say. One of the representatives quietly walked back and peeled the violation notice off my own front door. The sheriff reminded everyone that ownership needs to be confirmed before anyone tries to enforce anything on private land. Karen nodded, signed off admitting the mistake, and apologized. Then they loaded up their SUVs and drove off down the gravel road. Dust settling behind them, and the woods went quiet again. I spent the rest of that afternoon organizing every scrap of paperwork. I had grateful I kept it all these years. A few days later, I went into town for certified copies from the county records office, just to make sure nothing like this ever happened again. Word got around the area fast. Accurate records beat assumptions every time. The HOA fixed its maps, corrected its boundaries, and put new rules in place requiring verification before anyone else's compliance team went knocking on the wrong door. Standing on that porch again that evening, watching the sun drop behind the mountains, the wilderness went back to sounding like itself. My cabin was exactly what it had always been, a quiet place built on private land, protected not by yelling or standoffs, but by paperwork, patience, and knowing exactly where I stood.